So, you've spent a lot of time watching us, but not a lot of time getting to know us. Well, without further ado, here's a video from us to you, our favorite animes of 2016.
Hey, it's gonna be good.
2016 has been a great year for anime, but hands down my favorite of the year has to be Kohei Hirokoshi's My Hero Academia. Now, we've already covered My Hero in a previous video, but in case you missed it, here's a quick recap. It follows the story of young Izuku Midoriya, who lives in a world where being a superhero is a common profession. We get to watch Midoriya go through different trials of himself and others on his path to become the greatest hero of all time, and that's pretty much what the story is about. However, while the story isn't too deep on the surface, what makes My Hero stand out as my favorite anime of the year has to be the feeling I get from the show. In the same vein of shows like Gurren Lagann, it's a shonen beat-em-up anime that's got a lot of heart behind everything it does. I found myself many times up on my feet cheering for certain characters as if I knew them for real. My Hero gives off a certain inspirational feeling when you watch it that made it hard for me to put down. It plays on the whole nobody can be a somebody theme in the most gripping way possible. The emotion behind this show was something that really stuck out to me, and it's what moved My Hero to be not just my favorite of the year, but one of my favorites of all time. With beautiful art and scenery, an amazing soundtrack, and a 10 out of 10 cast, My Hero should definitely be something you check out. With the new season coming in April, I can't wait to see what else is in store.
Throughout the past year, I've discovered and enjoyed more through anime than I ever expected to. And while most of them were able to live up to my expectations, my favorite anime of 2016 is a show that caught me completely by surprise. The show, of course, is none other than the fourth part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure titled Diamond is Unbreakable. When first watching the show earlier this summer, I'd had a completely different idea of what JJBA was supposed to be. This was quickly and violently shattered within the first few episodes, however, ultimately, it has been able to suck me in regardless. And with summer 2016's most recent JoJo, it has easily been cemented as one of my favorite shows of all time. Starting part 4, it's immediately obvious that this season is aiming to be something completely different from its predecessors. The color palette and animation style almost does a complete 180, turning into something I find much more appealing. It ditches the rough, sharp, and stiff style from before, instead of replacing it with a vibrant, fluid, and appealing one that really sets it apart from its lineage. The OST also received a few upgrades, with songs from every released album constantly playing in my head or on my phone. Aside from just production value, Diamond is Unbreakable also undergoes a dramatic shift in both scale and tone. Rather than solely being a fast-paced action-adventure show that focuses more on spectacle than anything else, this bizarre adventure is more of a slow burner than before. Being centered primarily around a small town and a group of high school students, it follows a more slice-of-life pattern than before, which I couldn't be more enthusiastic about. The cast contains some of my favorite characters to ever come out of Japan, and each of them are written and voiced with such talent that it's almost impossible not to become invested immediately. The story itself is a character-driven thriller and mystery tale packed with mountains of drive and emotion. The suspense of waiting week to week for new episodes was unparalleled. Throughout each moment of tension and conflict, my eyes were nervously glued to the screen, and whenever the heroes came out on top, I was always overflowing with excitement. With it having recently come to a close, I can say with a weakened heart that I'll certainly miss Diamond is Unbreakable. But with a nearly perfect wrap-up to what was already a fantastic story, I'm still able to walk away grinning ear to ear, excited for what's to come next.
White Fox's ReZero was probably, at least for me, the most gripping watch of this year's spring anime season, and that's saying a lot, especially when you see it's going toe-to-toe with the likes of My Hero and Part 4 of JoJo's. So what exactly made it so damn intriguing to me? Well, for starters, was its unique twist on what could have been just another standard otaku take it to a fantasy world story. The twist being that our main hero, Natsuki Subaru, has the ability to return to a certain point in his life every time he dies. This quote-unquote respawn mechanic gives the show an edge, making it feel like a psychological thriller. Every death is bloody and visceral, but not to the point where it adds unneeded edge to the show. Instead, emphasizing the fact that, well, death isn't pretty, and to me personally that really topped off the emotions the show gave off. Seeing Subaru suffer constantly, sometimes at his own hands just to help others or fix his mistakes, is powerful stuff. but on top of being a psychological thriller, ReZero is also a pretty high-octane drama. Thanks to the previously mentioned respawn mechanic, the show was able to turn the drama up to 110% with extremely traumatic events being able to occur without any repercussions, knowing that it could be reset at any time. The numerous characters are charming, and I found the variety of interactions between them really interesting to see. ReZero does a whole lot of bold things with its story structure, approaching character archetypes, development, and the plot as a whole with a fresh breath of uniqueness that sets it apart from its competition. It's such an engrossing watch, it's like a soap drama mixed with visual crack, and it became almost impossible for me to put down.
2016 has been a hell of a year for anime. The shows picked by the other buns are all great examples of what this year had to offer. Each is a potential classic, and they all have a ton of merit in their own right. But my favorite anime of this year has merit in just about every right. Bone Studio noticed that most anime fans were singing a similar tune last year, a tune that went a little bit something like this. One Punch Man shook the anime world to its core, making the work of manga artist One a bit of a cash crop. Bones picked up One Punch Man's taboo little brother, Mob Psycho, for an adaptation, and although it wasn't as much of a smash hit, it's hard to deny the bold and ambitious direction that they took with Mob, and what a fantastic product emerged. Everything about Mob, from its art direction to its character dynamics, are wonderfully fresh and mostly unique to the world of anime. The wonky, outside-of-the-line style of art is indicative to a show that is not scared to go against the flow of tradition established by other successful shows. Although a turn-off for some, the show's art and direction actually impressed the hell out of me. Oh, and just in case you were wondering, the plot kicks ass. I'll admit it now, I'm a sucker for Esper stories personally, but the flurry of emotions, interesting characters, and fantastic development of said characters woven into the tale of Mob's quest to fit in is absolutely stunning. The intelligent writing and self-aware nature of Mob Psycho had me crying both from legitimate emotion and with tears of laughter. It's truly something to be marveled at, and so is the show itself.
Above all else this year, there was one anime that managed to grab our attention, knock our socks off, and then some.
That anime is A1 Pictures' fantastic mystery, drama, and sci-fi show, Erased.
It's the story of a reawakened homicide case that comes to a spearhead with the murder of our main character's mother. Afterwards, the main character, Satoru, is of course sent back in time.
There's plenty of plot justifications for this, but we won't bore you with the details. This story is, after all, something much more at its core.
On the surface, the show is, well, it's damn near perfect. Writing, direction, cinematography, sound design, OST, character interactions, development, dynamics, it's all good. Very good. And beneath all that, there's something even more.
The juicy sin of Erased is its heartfelt thematics and uncanny ability to make its audience feel. And God did we. With each subsequent episode released, we'd get together the theory craft and tear up recollecting on the strongest parts of the show.
Erased had a unique brand of warmth and nostalgia that had us feeling like children and thinking like adults, kind of like Satoru. Its relatively intense story of a child hunting down a serial killer takes place behind something more heartfelt, the rescue of an abuse victim and the formation of a close group of friends.
This story is especially unique in that the main cast consists almost entirely of children. We found it especially impressive that despite the show's extraordinary circumstances, these kids never felt unrealistic or out of place and behaved exactly how we would have expected them to in reality.
There's a key word in that, reality. Everything in Erased feels very real, and really, that's what makes Erased our favorite anime of 2016.
Thanks for watching!